So Russia is putting together a blacklist of unfriendly countries. And they hinted at this earlier in the week. Kremlin spokeswoman Maria Zakharova told the national media that the Russian government was finalizing what it was calling an unfriendly countries list. And Maria Zakharova said that the United States would likely be at the top of that list. Well, now we have some more insight as to the top 10 list of unfriendly countries. And it looks like we have the United States at number 1. We have the United Kingdom at number 2, Canada, Poland, Ukraine, Czech Republic, and then it's rounded out by the Baltic states. Here is the list right here. You get a better picture of the list. Country flags, the name of those countries in Russian. The Baltic states, of course, referring to Estonia, Latvia, Lithuania. And so these countries, these countries are top 10 countries expected to be on the Russian blacklist of unfriendly countries. Now, what does this list mean? Let's go over to TASS here. And TASS, which is the Russian news agency, the Russian government news agency, says that the Russian government will soon publish a list of unfriendly states in accordance with the presidential decree signed on April 23rd. According to Izvestia, about 10 countries are likely to make it to the list, including the United States, the UK, Poland, Czech, Canada, and the Baltic states. According to the decree, the diplomatic missions of these states will be unable to hire Russian staff. The Russian parliament told Izvestia that the new blacklist will come as a surprise, as all countries included on the list have been conducting an anti-Russian policy for a while. Will not come as a surprise. The Russian parliament told Izvestia that the new blacklist will not come as a surprise because they've been promoting an anti-Russian policy. So at the moment, it just means that the diplomatic missions of these unfriendly states will not be able to hire Russian staff. We saw that the Czech Republic embassy in Russia has been hollowed out to pretty much non-existent, and this goes back to this diplomatic row they've been having, which the Czech Republic has been trying to tie to the two guys that the UK said poisoned the Skripals and all that nonsense. Anyway, I've done many videos on this topic, but I imagine that in the future, maybe in the very near future, this may actually carry over to visa restrictions and travel restrictions into Russia for people on this list, for people from countries on this list. For example, right now, if you have a U.S. passport, you can get a tourist visa to visit Russia, which lasts 3 years. And you can stay in Russia for 6 months, and all you have to do is leave the country for 1 day, return back to Russia, and then you can stay in Russia for another 6 months. And that's a 3-year visa. So I imagine that the United States, since it tops that list, may actually have that visa toughened up and may not be so lax. Who knows? Anyway, we'll see exactly what more implications this unfriendly countries list carries for these countries. And now I'm going to give you my thoughts on this. That's the news, guys. That is the news, and I'm going to give you my thoughts. And you know, at first I thought, yeah, okay, Russia's justified to put together a list like this and to start taking actions against these countries. Like I said, we saw that with the diplomatic row Russia had with the Czech Republic just about a week and a half ago. We also saw that the Russian government started to place sanctions on U.S. officials after the U.S. placed more sanctions. The Biden White House placed more sanctions on Russian diplomats and business people. Russia responded by restricting travel to Russia for people like John Bolton and Susan Rice and former CIA directors and stuff like that. And so we started to see Russia actually respond to many of the actions that the European Union and the United States have taken towards Russia. I would say going back to the Obama coup in Ukraine. That's when things really started to ramp up. And I thought, okay, that's tit for tat, reciprocity, all those things. Okay, I understand that. But then I started to think to myself, and I said, isn't this a little bit harsh for Russia to take this action against these countries, against the United States, against Canada, Poland, Czech Republic, United Kingdom? I mean, an unfriendly list, maybe it's a little harsh. I mean, okay, so what? Obama, the European Union, they overthrew a democratically elected president in Ukraine, and they plunged the country towards a civil war. Okay, so what? No big deal, right? I mean, they just wanted to take over the country, instill a puppet government, move NATO towards the southern underbelly of Russia, militarize the Baltic states, the western front of Russia. Big deal. I mean, it's not like NATO has it out for Russia, do they? I mean, it's not like NATO is aggressive towards Russia. I mean, I sometimes forget, what's NATO's purpose? I think it has something to do with taking down Russia and tearing Russia apart. But just because you have NATO on your western and your southern flank, it doesn't mean that your country's in any danger, does it? I mean, just because you have NATO missiles in Poland and in Romania, it doesn't mean that, you're in danger, does it? And just because a US president and the European Union decided to overthrow what was once a friendly government to the south of you, it doesn't mean that, the West is being aggressive or antagonizing towards you. So, I start to think they put together this unfriendly list, and I go back and I say, what else has the West really done to Russia? I mean, okay, sanctions, and sanctions, and more sanctions, and travel restrictions, and more sanctions, and not allowing businesses to work with Russian companies, and not allowing businesses to trade with Russians and to trade inside Russia, and more sanctions, and calling your president a killer, and the media labeling your president a thug, and stories about poisoning and poison hoaxes, and stories about spy hoaxes, and stories about US presidents being groomed by your country's president, and stories about election interference. Okay. So what? No big deal, right? No big deal. I mean, is it really that bad having the US and the EU place, I don't know, maybe 30 rounds of sanctions on your country over and over again? I mean, is that really justification to create an unfriendly countries list? I mean, the United States and the UK and Canada, they're just playing around, aren't they? I mean, it's not that big a deal. Okay, so they want to fund people like Navalny and create regime change and color revolution in your country. It's not that bad, is it? I mean, what's the worst that can happen? They create a regime change in your country. They break your country apart. They plunge your people into poverty like what you had in the 90s. They enter your country. They pillage it of all its natural resources. And then you enter the global society. So, I mean, it's all good. It's all good. They take over your banks. They take over your natural resources. And then they plug you into the globalist system, the neoliberal system. Who doesn't want that? Who doesn't want that? Turn your country woke. It's all good. So yeah, I mean, maybe the more I think about it, this unfriendly list of 10 countries, maybe they're overdoing it, the Russians, a little bit. I mean, what the West has done is really, not so bad, is it? It's not so bad. So anyway, guys, that's my thoughts on this countries list. Let me know what you guys think down below. Go to Duran shop, pick up some merch. Take care.